You all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where are we? Antoinette, would you like to do roll call?
Of course. Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Jamie Spillane is with us tonight from Hogan and Rossi, our town attorney. Would you like to read the first legal notice?
Yes.
Pledge of allegiance? Did we do that? Okay.
Did you stand up, Bruce, or?
This is what we have to deal with at every meeting. Do you have a mic?
Yes.
Okay.
Town of Patterson, notice of hearing, amendments to Chapter 4 of the Patterson Town Code. Public notice is hereby given that there has been introduced before the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York on February 10, 2016, an amendment to Patterson Town Code Chapter 4 entitled Appearance Tickets, which amendment will revise Chapter 4 to provide for the issuance of appearance tickets for violations of the Patterson Town Code. Now therefore, pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York will hold a public hearing on the aforesaid amendment at the town offices, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, on March 9, 2016, at 7:00 p.m. in the evening of that day, or as soon thereafter as may be held, at which time all persons interested therein shall be heard. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk. Dated February 11, 2016, by order of the Town Board of the Town of Patterson.
For those of you here and out in our viewing audience, what this is amending the Patterson Town Code to clearly establish the individuals within our town hall who have jurisdiction to issue appearance tickets, and for the sections of code that they're responsible for enforcing. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Don't all jump up.
Motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second the motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jamie, would you like to read or summarize the next public hearing?
Yes. It has been proposed by the Town Board that an order be granted extending the Patterson Hamlet Sanitary Sewer District to include 30 Birch Hill Road, otherwise known as Patterson Center LLC. And at this time, the public hearing will be open in order to address this.
Again, this is to extend the sewer line, a new sewer line from Thunder Ridge over to Patterson Commons, tie into the Patterson pump station, and then discharge to the Hamlet wastewater treatment plant. Anybody have any questions on this application? Going once.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Quick discussion,
Yes.
or do you want to wait till later in the agenda? The question I have is, I understand that
Are you going to talk about the resolution adopting?
no, well, I'm going to bring up some discussion that ultimately may affect the resolution, so do you want me to?
Yeah, let's hold off till we get to that
Fair
part
enough,
of the agenda.
that's why I asked.
Okay. Okay, can I get a motion on the reports?
Make a motion that the town board accept the various reports that are shown on the agenda for March 9, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have a question. How come we don't have the fire department reports and the code enforcement report? We usually have the code enforcement report before.
We just received the code enforcement report today.
Okay. And how about, what's the
The
date
fire,
due
the
for
fire department,
departments?
we're currently in discussion with the fire department about exactly what reporting they need to do, because There's some question about whether we need to do monthly reports or quarterly reports.
Okay.
Okay?
That should be clarified in the next month or
Contract.
two? Okay.
Next contract.
All right. So, okay.
All right, can I get a motion on the supervisor's report?
I'll make a motion that the town board accept the supervisor's report dated January 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Sure, I'll make a motion that the town board approves the minutes for the bid opening for the recycling transfer station dated January 25th, 2016. The public hearing for the fire protection district, January 13th of 16. The public hearing for the procurement policy dated February 10th of 2016. The public hearing on the veterans exemption, which was dated February 24th of 2016. Let me stop there. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Also,
opposed?
make a motion that we approve the town board meeting minutes of February 10th, February 24th of 2016, and the special meeting that we had, the emergency special meeting of February 29th and March 3rd. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Audit of the bills.
I will make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 4 dated February 26, 2016, in the amount of $192,085.18. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Mr. Cook.
First up on our agenda is adding a person to the Putnam Lake Fire Department. They have accepted as a member Calvin Buccieri of Berwick Road, Brewster. So I will make a motion that the town board approve, along with the Putnam Lake Fire Department, Mr. Buccieri of Berwick Road, Brewster, as a member of the fire department, Putnam Lake Fire Department. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Is this just a Brewster mailing address on this person?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought.
Road to Patterson.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Just nice to
Michael.
know whether or not they're from Patterson or another jurisdiction. Thank you.
Past practice, do we now send you a letter back, or do we take any action?
Just let us know when they're on workman's comp, so that way we can have them as a full.
Okay, so we'll put them on comp, then send you notice that it's
Yes, please.
been resolved. We'll do that.
Next, we have our this annual bid document for lawn maintenance and landscaping. So I'll make a motion that the town board approve putting out to bid the seasonal lawn maintenance and landscaping document with proposals due back April 6, 2016. So moved.
Second.
For everybody out there, this is all the town-owned properties, mostly on the west side of town, Town Hall, around the railroad station, and also Putnam Lake Dam. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Gotcha.
Next, we have...
No, I was going to make a comment, though, about the bid. If I can just ask, I don't know if it's appropriate this time. With us potentially hiring a maintenance person, is it possible that that we may not fill some of these bids and allow that person to do some of these and save the town some money there?
It is highly unlikely, depending on who we hire. I'm sure he's already got a full slate.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm thinking town hall is such a small patch.
But then we would have to go buy the equipment, we'd have to figure out where we're gonna store it.
Okay.
So, and the way the weather has been going, it's likely we're gonna have to be mowing lawn very quickly.
Okay. But it can always be added in the future. It could be something that we look at as the position
Yes, I mean, it's
progresses.
possible that the
Okay.
position will warrant something like that, or maybe we wanna talk about part-time seasonal help.
Okay, next we have a similar document to go out relative to seasonal lawn maintenance and landscaping for the Putnam Lake Park District. I'll make a motion that we approve sending this bid document out with the proposals due also April 6, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Again, that bid is for the lawn maintenance and landscaping for Putnam Lake beaches, some of their natural areas, and Memorial Ball Field.
Next, we have a application to go to the New York State Education Department relative to our records management program. And we are requesting grand total of $25,356 to go towards support staff salaries, employee benefits, and equipment with regard to our records management program. So I will make a motion that the town board approve the submittal of this application to the New York State Education Department for $25,356. So moved.
And authorize the supervisor to execute any documents necessary to make the submission.
Just what he said.
As amended. Second.
Second for discussion. We're applying for money, or is this is grant money?
This is grant money.
And are we obligated, if we get the grant, are we obligated to accept it and use it in the way, or is it, so a little more discussion on it, because it looks like 18,000 of it is just, it looks like just for a printer.
Scanner.
Scanner.
It's
So,
a scanner.
so the point here is, as we were talking, is to scan documents, get away from paper, maybe reduce our records retention fees that we're
Right.
doing to the county?
Right.
Okay.
By way of a little background, back in the early 2000s, the planning department started a scanning project, which we started off with a grant that we received under this program to scan all the planning documents that were 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17 into a optical recognition software database. We pretty much have done all the planning department files that we have on site. We've done most of the zoning department files. We are about 80% now. We expanded it out. We're about 80% with all the building department files. What this grant is doing is taking it to the next step. We haven't been able to scan larger documents. We get a lot of plans in that are 24 by 36, 36 by 48. And this grant would purchase a scanner and provide some funding to start scanning in the bigger plans. I plan on this summer coming back to the board and talking to you about changing our town code to require digital copies as well as paper copies, so that going forward we won't need to continue to scan. But we have a tremendous volume of plans, as all of you know. You know, the building department is out of room. They've expanded into the upstairs lunchroom. So we have 3 file cabinets in there for the building department,
Necessary.
which needs to be,
Yeah.
you know, they need to come out of there.
Yeah.
I also want to say that the grant you have in front of you, 99%, almost 100% of it was done by Mary in the planning department. And if you take a look at the work that she's done here, it was absolutely outstanding. I think she did a phenomenal job pulling this all together.
When you say optical recognition, does that mean they're scannable? In other words, you can search?
Yes, we can do word searches on them.
Search, okay.
Yeah, it's been invaluable in the planning department with some of the old historical records about, you know, people want to come in and know what was done on this site or that
Right.
site. And, you know, we could just do a word search and pull up all the files.
Wow.
It's been incredible too with doing FOIL requests,
Mhm.
because FOIL requests take a fraction of the time.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is server 2008 service contract. Mr. Supervisor, I guess this relates to Town Hall.
It is the 2008 is the older server that we have currently in service right now. We originally got a 5-year service contract on it. I'm sorry, we got a 3-year contract on it. We say 2008 because that's the software. We purchased it in 2012. So the 3-year contract is coming up. The problem I have is the price that we've been quoted by Dell to continue to have a service maintenance agreement on the server, which is, the initial quote was $500. After I had further discussions with them, they dropped it down to $450 a year. That,
What's the cost of the server when we bought it?
we paid for that server about $3,500. And they're still running $4,000.
It's kind of like buying your dishwasher for Sears. After a while, you pay the service contract and you just replace, you're buying for the cost of the dishwasher after, 3 more years, you
Right.
know?
And we do have now a new server in there, so it's a redundant server.
The one that this would apply to it.
This one, we also have, we just recently, last year, purchased a second server so that we have that dual capability. So that, anything happens to this, we can just migrate over into the other server with everything instead of splitting it and, continue operations while we purchase a new server.
Is your thought that we may be, or is a possibility that we could purchase a new one this year?
No.
No.
No, I'm not looking to purchase a new one this year.
And this is an annual,
That is an annual cost.
so then we should protect ourselves and have a 1-year contract until it comes about that we need,
Is it 1 year renewable? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Every year.
Right.
Anyone do?
Fine. Let's see.
Somebody make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the service contract for 1 year for the server. So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Servers. Let's get into something fun like recreation.
Okay,
All right.
Mr. Rogan, you're up.
Thank you. Servers don't sound like as much fun as recreation, right?
Trust me, it wasn't a lot of fun today.
Yeah. Okay, so from our wonderful director of our recreation center, we have several requests for this meeting to consider. First is setting the summer camp pricing. Today's weather certainly got us thinking about summer. Seems right around the corner, and the fees are available on the rec center's website. But based on Mr. Chabarro's memo to the town board, I'd like to make a motion to approve those prices. They are for things like multi-activity camps, flag football camps, Lego camps, before and after care camp programs, and pre-K camps. And
Cheer and basketball.
sorry.
You missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry, and cheer and basketball camp. So I will make a motion to approve Mr. Chabarro's request for the summer camp pricing for 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chabarro also would like to appoint a new staff member to the rec department to fill some voids that have been created by other employees leaving. He'd like to hire Margaret Carney to the rec department for $12 per hour. He wants it to be effective starting tomorrow, March 10th. So I will move that we approve his request, assuming that Sue has completed all the necessary employee documents and background checks, etc. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chabarro would also like to rehire the men's softball director, Mike Capra, at at a rate of $1,600 for the summer season and $900 for the fall season. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Lastly, we're buying trophies again. The rec department put in a non-bid RFP procurement request form for a total of 233 flag football trophies from the low bidder, which was Trophy Depot, at an amount not to exceed $1,382.90. So everybody's getting a trophy for flag football, I guess.
Apparently.
So I'll make a motion to approve that request on behalf of Mr. Chabarro.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And there's so many jokes I can make about the next one about me getting
All right, let's
this end
go.
of the work. But I have a motion. We requested bids for this year's toilets, portable toilets. And the only person that responded to that request, there was a request sent to 4 different contractors, and it was for a Royal Flush, and it was for 6 handicap accessible portable toilets to be installed at the Cornwall Hill Ball Field, Club Court Park, Memorial Ball Field, Warren Beach, and Jackson Beach, for a total of actually 5 facilities, total of 6 units. And the amount will be $115 per unit per month, or a total of $690 per month, and a grand total of $4,830 for the year. And that will run, I saw the date, from April through October, and it's for a period of 3 years. So I'll move to approve the resolution submitted. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and wow, this goes back to 2001, Rich. Back in 2001, I remember this, the planning board set a performance bond for the expansion of the Guiding Eyes for the Blind facility when they were doing some improvements out on that site. And happy to say that all of the work has been completed to allow the release of the erosion-controlled performance bond in the amount of $9,200. So I will move that we release that performance bond to Guiding Eyes for the Blind in the amount of $9,220. So moved.
Second.
There we go. All right. You missed the 20 the first time.
Sorry, that's why I said this. The
All in
amount.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You want announcements now or at the end?
Your choice. What do you want to do?
I'll do them now, why not? We're having so much fun, right? With all these announcements.
Go for it.
Okay, we have the Patterson Rec and Fire Department's Easter Egg Extravaganza. Saturday, March 19th, 2016. It's recommended for ages 2 through 10, although I'm sure if you're a little older, they won't kick you out. And that's at the Patterson Rec Center on 65 Front Street. Arrive at 10 a.m. sharp. And so that is on the Rec Center website. Okay. We have lots going on at the Rec
Oh, we
Center.
do.
We have the annual community tag sale, Saturday, April 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. At the Rec Center. Spaces available for rent. First come, first served. Reserve early. Call 878-7200. And that's a rain or shine event inside the gym. And so come on out and do your spring cleaning and get rid of some items, maybe make a little bit of money. The Patterson Rec Center. The Putnam County Office for Senior Resources is sponsoring their St. Patrick's Day luncheon for the seniors on Wednesday, March 16th. That's next Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Putnam County Golf Course. There's a suggested donation of $3, and that looks like a wonderful event. It's at the Carmel site in, again, Putnam County Golf Course, and tickets available beginning 2 weeks ago. So contact the Office of Senior Resources at 808-1701 if you'd like to know more about that event. They get all the announcements. And we have an announcement for a military working dog supply drive. It says that you can donate to this event at the Feed Barn in Brewster and Mahopac or the Duffel Bag in Patterson. Call the Duffel Bag for more information. This is to support the working dog, the military working dogs. The Duffel Bag's phone number is 878-7106. It's a nice little flyer they put together to help support that. And I think lastly, we're announcing the that new outage alerts, power outage alerts. This is information's available on the website. If the power goes out, it's a informational source that is on NYSEG's website. Actually, I already have this saved to my computer. And you can find out about outages in your area. You can sign up for alerts and find out, of course, if the power is out, unless you have your mobile devices, and you may not be able to check the website, but that information is available on the NYSEG website for local power outages.
Very good. Moving on.
Great.
So a few minutes ago, you mentioned an event being held by the Senior Resources. Well, every year, the town of Patterson signs a contract to provide outreach service for the Office of Senior Resources. The contract is in the amount of $2,500. And I'd like to move that we approve this contract and authorize the supervisor, me, to sign the contract as we do every year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good deal.
Just to update the public, the town board had a special meeting last week. It was for the purpose of reaching an agreement on a tax search area that we had with the Clover Lake Center. It has been going on for several years. They were challenging their taxes for 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. That's how long this has been going on. We reached an agreement on the amount of reduction based on their appraisals, and we approved the tax surcharge. They get a significant reduction in their assessments. However, there's no the agreement that we reached, there's no financial impact to the town of Patterson. The schools are going to have to pony up some money, as well the county, but for the town of Patterson, we didn't have to pay anything out of our pocket to settle the tax surcharge.
The fiscal impact could have been, what, 140,000 to us?
That's what he said.
Could have been $140,000 to the town of Patterson,
Right.
which
And-
we avoided.
And even though the reductions were made, they are back to what they didn't challenge the last 2 years, so we're back to
They
ground.
did not challenge 13, they did not challenge 14, so we're back right up to where we were. They have challenged 2015, so we get to start this game all over again.
Okay.
So the second item on my agenda has to do with the ambulance service. Again, it was a busy week for us last week. We had a special meeting on Monday. For those of you who don't know, we have been using TransCare to provide riders to the ambulances, EMTs. They typically ride the Patterson ambulance from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night. And then for up to 20 nights out of the month, they ride from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. And the town has been paying the EMTs to ride the ambulance. Last Friday at 6:45, I received a phone call that the Chapter 7 proceeding that was going on with TransCare, they had proposed spinning the company off and continuing to provide us service. The judge rejected that and put TransCare out of business. So I want to thank Patterson Fire Department for stepping up. They manned the ambulance throughout the weekend, which bought us a couple of days in which to come up with a solution. At one point, I will tell you, we were in here taking interviews and we were looking to hire our own EMTs. Fortunately, on Sunday, I was able to negotiate an agreement with MSTAR, who is going to continue to provide the same service that TransCare was. Initially, it was going to be a considerable hike based on us agreeing to a longer-term contract which would allow them to capitalize their investment. We were able to get the price down, so there's only a $2 per hour increase to, our taxes or our budget. So last Monday, the town board met and ratified that contract, and so we still have ambulance service running in the town of Patterson, thank goodness.
And that seems to be running smoothly so far?
Everything is running very smoothly. MSTAR has been very good to work with so far.
I've seen them making runs to Putnam Hospital.
Yeah. We still have a committee going on. We still are looking at a long-term solution to provide ambulance service for the town of Patterson. We've met with some of the individuals who believe they have the correct solution to listen to their proposals. And right now we are getting ready to talk to the state and then to make a recommendation back to this board. Okay? So, all right, now we have a resolution for the approval of the amendments to Chapter 4, which is Local Law I-3, or Local Law 3 of 2016. I'd like to move it. as we have it in front of us. Do I have a second?
Second.
Without objection, we'll enter it in the minutes as though read. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next, I have a resolution approving the extension of the Patterson Hamlet Sanitary Sewer District to include the Thunder Ridge ski area, the lodge parcel. I'd like to introduce it as we have it in front of us. Do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Go ahead.
So the Thunder Ridge ski area complex is going to connect per the resolution and per the agreement at a capacity of 3,000 gallons per day.
Correct.
Which they have a speedies permit for currently. My concern with this is that we are now approving and occupying or using 3,000 gallons of potential future use for a sewage treatment facility that is rated for 80,000 gallons a day, and we're currently using about 45 to 50,000 gallons of.
Correct.
That 3,000 gallons I don't think is that significant given the size of the property. My concern is that that takes away potential future use for some other developer or property owner with that already in the sewer district. So I know that other towns charge connection fees for sewer connections for outside the district, and I know that they are paying the sole cost of construction plus $75,000 to the Patterson Commons
Correct.
owner, because they put up the money to drill under the road and under the swamp and everything. So they bore the, pun intended, the greatest amount of construction costs to get the line in.
Correct.
Right?
They are essentially, that hookup fee is helping Patterson Commons offset the overall cost of going from Patterson Commons down to Front Street.
And I know that a waiver was required from the DEP for the approval for this connection, or a variance for this
It's a
connection,
variance.
correct? But does that variance allow, or will it allow for, say, the restaurant that the property owner now also owns for
No.
future? Okay. How about the vacant parcel?
No.
So future development, commercial retail use or something would not be allowed? Or it would be with a variance?
Yes, any individual property, and I think I relayed the story to you that I reached out because we had somebody within the hamlet that wanted to connect into the sewer plant, and I reached out to the DEP and said, who should this individual talk to? And the response I got was, well, we don't know, we've never done it. And I said, sure you have. No, we've never done it, so I don't know who you would reach out to. So I reminded him of Patterson Commons, I reminded him of Thunder Ridge, and I reminded him of the library in Cartwright. And I said, we've done it before. He says, oh yeah, I guess you're right, but I still don't know who to reach out to. I'll have to talk to my boss, and I'm still waiting.
Yeah. So Cartwright, you mentioned Cartwright, Patterson Commons, and what was the other
The
facility?
library,
And they were all out-of-district properties that were allowed to connect, correct or no?
with Patterson Commons, we included them, we did the same process, we included them in the district. With the library and Cartwright, what we did is we've included them, as we did Carmel Central School, the administration building and the elementary school. We are considering them an out-of-district user, and they are paying just an annual fee.
Okay. What I would like to propose moving forward is that any future out-of-district connections pay a connection fee to the town that can be used for some public improvement, whether it be future sewage capacity or public water supply, which is what I really would like to do for Front Street, whether it's extending Dorset Hollow. The planning board had a great project that basically fell through because of lack of public water on Front
Correct.
Street, and that's a critical component. And any money that we can get from use within the district, and obviously I had actually asked Don for the legal opinion on the uses for that money, and I know obviously he's not feeling well and wasn't here.
It's fairly simple
But-
and straightforward. Jamie, chime in if you'd like, but
I'll let-
that money can only be used for the district.
For the district, but can it be used for only for the sewage within the sewer district, or can it be used for that geographical unit for public improvements, like a public water
No,
supply?
it can only be used for the sewer district.
Okay, so then we get money, we put it in a pot for a future, whether it's an expansion to the system or something otherwise, but the part that I'm struggling with this is that this connection, which I think is a fantastic thing, is offsetting a potential expenditure from the DEP of over $1 million that they would have spent. We have the numbers on it. It was $1.2 million that they would have spent for a sewage treatment facility for Thunder Ridge. And again, it has nothing to do with the owner, but the DEP was going to pay this. And what we're getting is a sewer connection which is taking capacity away from future people that have already paid to build this expensive sewage treatment facility. And so what I would propose is that any future discussion, negotiations with out-of-district connections, that we incorporate a connection fee that can then be used to build that pot of money to be able to make future, because it's not easy to say we have an 80,000 gallon sewage treatment facility, we now want to increase it to 110,000. As you know better than I do, that's not an easy feat to pull off. It's an expensive thing at least.
It's very expensive,
And we're not gonna
very
have the money.
difficult, and we don't get a lot of cooperation with DEP when we're
Thank you.
talking about expanding.
But that's a perfect conversation to have with this case in point. We're saving them $1 million, realistically. That $1 million should go towards some consideration for expansion of that sewer district. It's critical to some of these properties that we have. So I just wanted to make that point, and I'm not opposed to this. I think it's a great thing to connect. God knows the planning board beat this around looking for alternatives. Charlie, you were a huge part of that. So
Yeah. The other thing too is that when the wastewater treatment plant was first built and everything, the initial people that it served, they bore the cost of
Exactly.
that whole thing. It's just too bad that these guys can't contribute something to the capital fund.
They are.
How?
well,
Because that benefit unit is broken apart into the capital cost plus the O&M costs. There are still capital costs associated with the ongoing charges right now that you're paying and Covington Green is paying. They're going to be paying that same benefit charge, which includes both a capital component and an O&M component.
Through their 3,000 gallon
Yeah,
payment,
Mhm.
what is that, per day?
3,000 gallons.
3,000 gallons per day, yeah, I think it figures out to 8,000 some odd dollars.
And then lastly on the use is if they go over the 3,000 gallons per day that they're projected and that they're currently permitted for, let's say that they're a restaurant at the ski area, they decide to do more with it, which they're perfectly within their right to do. They're not using that facility right now to its full potential. That's going to be an increased cost, or not an increased cost, but an increased use in the system.
Correct.
And I know they'll pay a fee associated with that, with the usage fee, the O&M fee, but I think that that's something that, again, it's taking potential capacity away from some other person who is already within the district that might want to do, whether it's a retail operation, whether it's, we've got a lot that can go on in Front Street in the future. So again, I think we should build in some kind of a ability that when thresholds are met, that it opens up the books, that it says, hey, this is renegotiable. Rich had mentioned that the parameters for which this was negotiated were set by us, not by Rich, but by the town board about a year ago. I honestly don't recall having that discussion. I don't remember ever having a discussion on the record in executive session about those parameters, because I would have brought those issues up at that time. I'm just saying I don't recall, but I think that this is a good thing for the property. It's a great thing for the DEP because they're saving a ton of money, but I think that for future use of this system, it's pulling away something that right now is so precious. So,
One little point, that if there is an increased usage by Thunder Ridge in the future, we would have to increase their benefit units, hence their cost.
right.
And that would be an action that would come back to the town board. We don't actually have to approve an increase. We could tell them to reduce whatever flow, whatever they're doing out there. So, we have that option.
Just out of curiosity, since they're very seasonal, is that $3,000 a month averaged?
3,000 gallons.
3,000
It's per day.
gallons a month averaged? So in other words, is there peak, like what if they have, 3 months of 21,000 and then 6 months with,
It is-
500?
It is averaged.
It
It
is.
is average, it's a monthly average.
Okay. And that doesn't impact us in terms as long as the plant is able to handle capacity?
No, because we've again, to go through the DEP variance. DEP is a very understanding group. We had to not only prove that the capacity had adequate volume both for the average and the peak, we also had to prove to them that every individual component of the plant had sufficient capacity for both the average and the peak. So, and this is after they came to us and said, please tie them in.
Rich, where will Thunder Ridge's meter be installed?
It is on the northern side of the building, on northeast corner of the building, near the pump station.
Before anything leaves their property.
Yeah, the meter is for the water usage. We also can monitor the wastewater usage, but it's easier for us to read a water meter on the outside of the building, so
No.
No, that's, but
They're
isn't that gonna-
paying
that's what,
to discharge 3,000 gallons,
correct.
right? Where is that meter that tracks how many gallons?
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The easiest way for us to track the usage, the water usage, water in, water out. Now, it doesn't always equate one for one, but we generally put a meter on the inflow of water going into the building. And then there's a separate meter within the pump station, so we know what's coming out. But what we do is we actually go out there and read the water meter, the water going in, so that we know what their water usage is, because it's a lot easier than somebody having to pull the cover and look in the pit.
Well,
So that's what we charge them on, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
does their water usage for like the, snow making, is that outside of the meter?
Yeah, the snowmaking is an entirely
Totally separate
different
system,
water
okay.
supply.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Reluctantly and hesitantly, aye.
All right, I'd like to defer my 2 executive sessions to the end of the meeting.
All right. On to conference requests. We have several conference requests. There's a conference request for 2 individuals to attend the Southern Westchester BOCES Reasonable Suspicion Training with Partners in Safety. I'll make a motion to approve that conference request as submitted. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And we have several other conference requests, and the only reason I'm doing them separately is because they are significantly greater cost, and some of them are listed as mandatory training. So I'll just go through the different items. These are all seminars for the people within the assessor's office. One is for fundamentals of data collection. It's a 5-day mandatory class that must be taken. The cost is including being there, food. It's, the cost of the attendance is $884. There's another annual assessor seminar, which is looks like it's a one-day, no, it's a multi-day. It's a 4-day seminar. The cost of that is $1,202. I don't see that that's mandatory, but that is an annual meeting that the assessor usually attends. And then the last one is the mass appraisal fundamentals. That too is a 3-day class for $799. We can approve these. There are funds available, but we would have to transfer them within the assessor from other line items within the assessor's budget. So I'll make a motion to approve the 3 conference requests as submitted. So moved.
Second for discussion.
Yeah.
Why is one of the trainings, the one in for the assessor to go up for the 4 days to Lake George?
Right.
The 3 nights lodging is almost $300, $280 per
There
night.
you go.
I'm not in favor of that. That's got to be something wrong, or we got to seek out a different hotel.
Oh,
or
no,
something.
at that lodge, that's what the rate is. Now, I will
Is that
tell
where
you,
the conference is?
I know that area, and right around the corner, there's an Econo Lodge you can get for $60 a night.
I'm not in favor of that.
And I will tell you, my problem with this is that last year we go through a budget process and they budgeted $1,800 for training for this year.
Yeah,
They are
this-
now, the beginning of this year, asking for $2,885 for training.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, also, what was our policy that we set with regards to training classes? That if it was a mandatory training, we would cover it. If it was an optional training, that there would be some pro rata share between the employee and the town? Wasn't that-
Correct.
And what is our current, does this cost reflect that or no?
no, it does not.
Okay. Well, do we want
This
to?
one-
I mean, I wouldn't have, if we have mandatory training that they have to attend, I don't have a problem proving that. The other two, do you want to table for more information? Or do we have an issue with the mandatory training or clarification as to why it's mandatory?
I don't have a problem with the mandatory training.
So why don't I make a motion to approve the mandatory training request, and we'll table and ask for more information on the other two, neither of which, although,
I actually don't have a problem with, trying to find a way, fundamentals of data collection.
yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, I think that's
That's
going.
the $884 one.
I think
Yeah, that's
we may
another
have-
mandatory
I think
one.
I think we tentatively proved that too.
And this is let me just ask, this is a mandatory, is it fundamentals of data collection a yearly? It's not a yearly 5-day training, it's a one-time thing that somebody takes for 5 days and they get the skill that they need to perform their job. So it's mandatory to gain a certain level of expertise in the job, correct?
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because my understanding was that if you needed some sort of certification, as our building inspector needs
Right.
certification every year, he has minimum training requirements he has to do. That was the mandatory training. I am not familiar with what the training requirements, if any, are for the two girls working in the assessor's office. I believe that Chris does have mandatory training that he needs to take.
Okay, well, this one I noticed the dates.
One's not until September, so we can certainly table that one.
Oh, the mandatory one's going on now.
Well, which one is the mandatory one? Because two of them are listed as mandatory training.
Right, there's a mandatory for April, and then there's a mandatory for March,
Correct.
which would appear to be now.
Yep. And I don't have a problem with those two. I've got a problem with the third one.
All right, so are you?
Where does it say mandatory on this one? I'm sorry.
That one says mandatory there, and then
Yeah, I got that
this
one.
one up here says. All right, so are we okay with approving the two mandatory and asking for additional information on the other one?
Fine by me.
Well, at least all the fees associated with the other ones are more in line with, the lodging that's $100 a night, that's.
No, I agree.
So, yeah, I'm fine with the other two.
All right, so I will make a motion to approve the fundamentals of data collection for the class in April and the class in March. And at this time, we are going to table the assessor's request to attend the NYSAA annual meeting and seminar in Lake George in September. We obviously have some time to get some additional information for that. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That was the toughest conference request I've ever had.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're definitely pro-training, it's not about that.
Times are changing and budgets are
Well,
tight.
the other thing is, I don't understand why more of these trainings aren't teleconference, or,
Well, there's a lot of webinars.
webinars
Yeah.
that
There's
you
a
can
lot.
participate in and not have all the travel expenses, the meals, but still participate in really good interactive trainings.
Yeah.
So I think, we need to also consider other options.
All right, I have my next item is the Rentulis tax certiorari. There was a resolution of this, and we have consent judgments. There were two parcels that were contested for the tax year 2015. A resolution was reached whereby the assessment on the first block, which was originally $975,100, was reduced to $759, representing a $216,100 reduction. And then the other parcel was appraised at $81,800, was reduced to $6,600, which represents a $15,800 reduction for the calendar year tax assessment roll year of 2015. So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of settlement for the tax certiorari proceeding of John Rentulis versus the town of Patterson, and authorize the supervisor, or would it be a supervisor, to sound the consent judgments, or is it?
I believe it's Mr. Hogan.
So I authorize council to sign the consent judgments to resolve the tax certiorari. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, next item on my agenda is Putnam Lake Park District. I don't know if you want to talk about this, Rich, but you met with the Park District and several action items were identified, so
Correct.
would you want me to walk through them, or do you want to talk about them? or-
Fine if you'd like to.
I didn't attend the meeting, so I'm
Okay.
happy to read your memo.
All right, so this week, last week, boy, it's getting to be a blur. This week I met with Pat Plover and Marguerite Short, who were with the Putnam Lake Park District. They had a number of topics they wanted to discuss. I gave everybody a little bit of summary about all of the topics we talked about. Allied Biological, now Solitude, and the lake treatment this year and what they're proposing. We've got that all squared away, and that is moving along.
That was a huge, huge success last year.
Yeah, it was. We were one of the
Yeah.
few lakes that stayed open.
Yep.
We've ordered the envelopes, we're printing up the letters, so I'm gonna call Pat tomorrow and let her know that, as of next Wednesday, she should be able to mail all the, mailings, and we can send the, certifications back in, get the permit from DEC.
Okay.
On those, well, I'll talk about that later. We have a schedule, for the Putnam Lake Softball League for all of you to review. Please get back to me with any comments. The Park District is looking for putting a security camera in the boathouse. They had some problems last year. Pat's getting a price, a second price from someone that we use, one of our vendors. What else have we got here that we really need to talk about?
Everything else just seemed like regular start up the year, get the trash barrels in, get the carter in, get the porta potties in, just typical annual stuff that they do. They did do the specs for the basketball court.
Yep, you have specs in the package. Please take a look at them, see if anything jumps out. I do want to bring up one topic that we're wrestling with right now. Typically for all our volunteers, especially our volunteer boards, we're requiring them to sign a waiver and release form so that when they go out and do things, do volunteer work, say improving the parklands, the town is covered against any sort of liability, and it's a form that we borrowed from Habitat for Humanity that they use extensively. The Putnam Lake Park District Board doesn't feel it's appropriate, and Mike, jump in, to sign the release, because if they're out there working on behalf of the town and the Park District, they feel they should be covered, against, any accident or anybody getting hurt.
Distinguishing board from volunteers?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting point. It brings up the whole discussion about some of the reasons why people don't volunteer, because they're afraid they're gonna get hurt, and then they're, so that certainly provides a little bit of safety net for folks that are already giving of their time and doing great work, and,
right. So I do want to talk to our insurance carrier a little bit more about this, but I want you to be aware of this.
thank you.
Because they have not signed the waiver and release form that everybody else has signed, they've been required to sign. And we may need to, think about how we're gonna handle this going forward,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
All right. So that was the big one.
Great work on that.
And by the way, everything is within budget. I know there was a lot of concern when we first did this about would they be able to stay within budget. It doesn't seem like the budget's been a problem to stay within it for the last couple of years. They seem to have done pretty well.
They've done an outstanding job within staying in their budget.
Right. Great.
Beginning of the year, a lot of things could come up we're not aware of, but so far they've done an outstanding job.
Great. All right, next item on my agenda is a LoSEP resolution for 2016. This is the Length of Service Awards Program for the volunteer firefighters in Putt Lake and Patterson Fire Department. And this is just basically an approval of the length of service agreement. I have a resolution. I'll just make a motion to approve the resolution, move the resolution as read. So moved.
Second.
And just for clarification, it's not approval of the LoSAP program, it's approval of our contract with
Oh, VFIS,
VFSI
okay.
to manage our program.
VFIS, okay.
VFIS, thank you.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have one item to add to my agenda.
Okay.
It's budget transfer requests. So moved.
Wait, we got,
So the
we're
question,
holding off on.
well, I guess the question is going to be how much of these do we approve if we haven't approved all the training? Because these were the budget transfers for, that would be required for, one of them is at least has to do with the assessor's training. We have to transfer $1,500.
Just modify the amount by,
I didn't add up the,
We'll hold off and make.
Just deduct
transfer request
$1,200.
9, number 8, and just hold off on the other one altogether.
That's what you want to do?
can we defer the, so I'll defer budget transfer request number 8 for Trish to modify since we denied one of the applications. I don't think we can wait.
It's not gonna hurt.
It can wait to the next meeting.
Well,
right?
what we're going to do is we're not going to do 8, we're just going to make 9 8. Because we have to
Okay.
keep them in order.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll change, budget transfer 8 will then be budget transfer request for recreation equipment and a capital outlay. It'll be a transfer of $630 between recreation center personnel service and contingent account, and $500 from the contingent account to recreation center equipment and capital outlay for a total of $1,130. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So you'll change it on the original to 8? Got it.
I don't know that
Fine.
Trish isn't going to make us re-sign everything, but there
Well,
it
you
is.
know, we're around. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, anybody else have any other business?
Two acknowledgements, not necessarily business per se, but before we get to public recognition.
Sure.
Okay. First, I want to just make a note that this weekend I was at the recycling center on Saturday, bringing my metal and different recyclables. And I want to compliment Russ Goff and the guys in the sanitation department because I have never seen the place look better. It was immaculately clean, everything organized. The gentleman, the permit checker, did a great job, had a great conversation, but I've never seen the place. There wasn't a shred of litter or paper flying around anywhere. The place looked fantastic, great service. And Russ has been assuming the responsibilities of the recycling administrator, sanitation administrator for the last couple of months. So Russ, great job. And please forward that information to the guys that their hard work is being recognized. And secondly, Rich, not to embarrass you, but the ambulance issue.
Don't do it.
I'm going to. The ambulance issue was something that came out of, we knew there was problems with TransCare, but it came out of left field in terms of 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, all of a sudden the phone starts lighting up and everybody knows that TransCare is no longer a viable option. And Rich and Sue worked tirelessly over the weekend. And I know I bumped into you at an outside event on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Saturday, and there was a lot going on. And I want to say that very few things that we do on town board equate to life and death decisions, but this is one of them. This truly impacts on public safety. And I just want to compliment you on the hard work. I mean, you've hit the ground running in the first couple of months. Not that we ever doubted, because you've been doing a lot of this, but I want to compliment you and Sue, your work on getting this up and running so quickly, because everyone was scrambling to solve the same problem. And while we don't necessarily see this as the long-term solution, this is certainly our current scenario. And I want to thank you for that, because you
You're welcome.
really pulled it together.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
You don't get a raise or anything. You just
thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, on a lighter note, I also would like to say that today we started back up senior lunch. It was a fantastic lunch, as always. Paul Fava was back overseeing it. But I would like to extend my gratitude to Bruce Major, who was head chef, and
Who knew?
helped pull it off. Thank you, Bruce.
That was today, right?
That was today.
And as of
Ambulance services up.
as of 8 o'clock, we've had no reports of any foodborne illness. So
And the highlight of the luncheon was the Irish soda bread.
Oh, yes, I forgot that. I apologize. That was
very nice.
very, very good.
Who made that?
Mrs. O'Connor.
Oh, very nice. Nice.
And I would like to add one more executive session on my agenda. We have a tax certiorari right now with Patterson Commons, where the A&P is located. We have been back and forth about a number of issues with that. We are looking to perhaps lower their tax liability so that the businesses out there which are individually paying the tax, a portion of the tax, can get some short-term relief until we can get Acme stores in. I can't tell you all the details about Acme stores because I talk with the people regularly, so I know something is coming. It is coming very, very soon, but exactly when, I can't say at this time, but they are moving forward. But we do have a tax cert that I'd like to talk to you about a little bit in executive session, and perhaps we can do something to help out the individual smaller business who have been suffering from a tremendous lack of foot traffic out there and have seen their revenues decline.
Got it.
Second your motion on adding that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're official.
All right.
Any other business? Public recognition. Mr. Major.
It's got a list of recipes.
I wasn't here last week, so last meeting, so I just have just one thing on the optical storage. Are we storing it both in-house and off-site?
We have off-site backup as well as in-house backup, and
Okay.
it's on our server, of course.
And it's off-site.
Yes.
Good, that's important. I'd like to just talk briefly about that tax surgery with Clover Lake. A lot of people may not realize it, but the previous town board, and I have to thank Kevin because he was involved when the previous owner came in and was looking for a substantial reduction in taxes. And if you remember the charts that we put together, they were looking to save nearly $4 million. And I think those of us that live within the Carmel School District are taking a hit for about
$280,000.
$280,000 over 4 years. So I have to say the town board did the right thing, and although I'm not happy with that amount of money, it's still a nice savings. One other thing, as it relates to the fire department, could you give us an update as to where we are with the contract, and specifically if you have any information in reference to what was going on in the Patterson Fire Department and the information that you brought to us a few meetings ago? Thank you.
There is no new update with the Patterson Fire Department and the issue with the money. We don't have anything that's being handled outside of the town. With regards to the 2016 contract, we have reviewed it. We are currently making some edits. Hopefully I'll be able to get a revised contract to both fire departments very soon. I thought it was going to go quicker. It hasn't. The new contract is fairly complicated compared to the old contract because we've put a few more controls in, and we need to find a happy medium between the town, our financial responsibility, and the needs of the fire department and their budgets. So we are working on it, and hopefully by next meeting I'll have more information. Anyone else?
Motion to
Make a motion to go into executive session?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.